Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. I may look I may look more tore up and exhausted than usual. Been helping somebody all week get ready for trial and pulled a couple all-nighters doing it. You know, that's what people do when they actually care about their trial. They get help before they go in there with the stuff they don't know. And this lady actually destroyed the father's attorney, and she was representing herself. In any case, I want to talk about this video. There's this dad who went to a visitation exchange and wanted his kid. I guess it was his time. And he raised a bunch of hell, and he argued with the mother, and he was in his feelings. This is what you don't do. Now, he ended up getting shot and killed by the mom's boyfriend. Now, it's her fault playing this game. She's the original source of the conflict. But you can't go on over there and start talking smack and telling her, I'm going to subpoena you and I'm going to subpoena him and I'm going to get you in court. And then the boyfriend comes out with a gun because you won't get off their property because you're starting-ish. It's just not wisdom. Go over there, go and get your kid and say, hey, look, it's my time for the kid. Don't talk. This is guys who talk hot air. This is feminine feeling, emotional guys. You don't go over there and talk-ish. You act. You do contempt. You get on the offensive. You depose people or you subpoena them. Go and do it. Hold off your feelings till later. Get revenge through the war of attrition. Here's the video.
Get off of my property. I'll go get him. I'm supposed to have him at 3:15. And you're playing games telling me that I can pick him up at 6. I'm going to have him pumped. I've already got the pump on the way to your mom's house. Because that's probably where he is. I don't care if you wanted to see him or not. I get him at 3:15. If you want to see him, you see him up until 3:15. You keep trying to keep my son from me. I'm fixing to drag you and Anne-Marie and everybody else into court. I'm subpoenaing your mom. I'm subpoenaing Anne-Marie. This is on video. Please do it. Right, you better fucking use it, motherfucker. Because I gave it. I'll take it from you and fucking use it.
Call the police. Call 911. Call 911. Call 911. Call 911.
So now the kid's father is dead. The stepdad or the mom's boyfriend, is in jail, and the kid's traumatized and left with his psycho baby mom. If you have a kid with a psycho, own it and use stealth warfare tactics. Don't go in there like run an ambush. Like if you're in a war, you don't run out in the middle of the desert, open desert. Oh, I'm going to get you and get emotional. You wait patiently. Like think about a sniper. They wait patiently. They crawl on the grass. They might wait for a couple days to strike. And when they strike with a good strike, the other side's taken out. You can't just go and just start blabbing and being an emotional basket case like this guy. You need to get a hold of your emotions. Now let's talk about what he could have done. He could have just walked away, walked up for his son. The mother says, you can't have him. Got in the car and drove off and done contempt. Now I can already hear a lot of you are saying, well, contempt doesn't work and the system. You're a crybaby little biatch because I got my baby's mom found in contempt the first time I tried. 100% of men that I talk to, when they talk about their contempt motion, they argued wrong. They did it wrong. They didn't jump on it immediately when it happened. So then if you wait 5, 10 months, 2 years on contempt, it looks like you don't care. This is a game of optics. So if I won contempt and you lost, there's guys who've gotten screwed because they just went in front of a radical feminist man-hating lesbian judge who got hairy legs and got molested by her dad. Okay, there's instances like that. But those of you who your immediate reaction was, I went to court and I lost. You are a loser. Because real winners have losses along the way. Every successful person, every CEO, every athlete who made it in the pros had setbacks or thought they weren't going to be good enough. And they kept working at it. They didn't quit. And we're not talking about a job or some fame that's fleeting. We're talking about your life with your kids. Why can't you try more than once to do contempt and learn from your mistakes or learn from somebody else? Because you're emotional and your ego is dominating you. Instead of being a real man and growing some balls and having humility and saying, I did it wrong. Let me try something else for the sake of my kids. You want to piss and moan because your ego is crushed and butthurt from the first loss. That being said, the dad could have went home as soon as the contempt happened and done it. He wanted to prove a point. He wanted to get in an ego match. So he's got feminine energy where this is what women do. They get in little cat fights and get all catty and they want to go back and forth and talk and get nowhere. He wouldn't have accomplished anything and wouldn't got his kid in the end, even if the guy didn't shoot him. So he walks home, goes home, does a contempt. They don't find her in contempt. She does it again. Then you make the overemphasizing argument on contempt. Do you want to know what that is? You need to get a consult with me, dummy. You guys want instant results, instant gratification, instant satisfaction. This is a marathon. It's a war. It's not a quickie little battle. See, what this guy did was, like I said, there's a war going on. There's strategies. There's, Sun Tzu's The Art of War, or like the movie 300. The Greeks that fought off the Persians, they were wise to wait at the cliff and narrow the path so they only had to deal with like a row of 8 men at a time or whatever. If they would have got emotional and went and attacked the Persians on the way in an open field, they would have got demolished the first battle. This is where real manly thinking comes into place. Real men sit and endure the pain and suffering and look at it long term. I'm suffering right now. This hurts right now. I have to plan and plot what to do. When I did my contempt motion, I was mad immediately. But at the same time, I was partially glad because my baby's mom didn't drink, smoke, do drugs, nothing crazy. I finally had something on her contempt that manifested and showed her I didn't have a psychological evaluation on her. Her actions of contempt showed her psychosis. Now I finally had something. See, if you get enough contempts, that's grounds to go get full custody. So this guy should have looked at it like, oh my God, she's not letting me see my kid. This is a weapon I can use against her later. But he got emotional in the moment. And then, if you notice, he reaches and grabs the dude's gun and start pulling it after threatening him that he'll take it and he'll use it on him or something like that. So that boyfriend's probably going to get off on self-defense. So now the dad's dead and the kid's without a dad and the kid's traumatized from that. And now the kid is living with the murderer's boyfriend and the crazy mom. Good job, Dad. Dumbass mother effer. I have compassion for him, but he's so stupid. He knew that was a powder keg and he's adding gas to the fire. Yeah, the system's bigoted. Yeah, women get away with murder. I bet you he didn't even try and go for full custody from the beginning. I bet you he settled on the parenting plan that it had. And then he thinks, oh, I got a court order so I can talk shit, step on their property, violate them, and threaten them repeatedly. Now, you guys know I'm all for tit for tat, and going to war and fighting fire with fire, but not in the open field at an exchange site. Now let's say, now I'm talking about, ceasing the whole thing before it gets started. I mean, I've been a conflict avoider most of my life. It's part of being a beta growing up, but I've also know how to use wisdom and not set stuff off and sit quietly while everybody's shit talking and talking crazy and jeering and mocking. The enemies the psychos and the emotional basket cases, they'll talk smack and jeer and laugh and poke and prod in the moment. But a real warrior will endure the pain and come back later. It's like Jesus or Aslan in Lion, Witch, in the Wardrobe, or any hero who comes back, or, the original, I'm thinking about the original Superman when they had him with kryptonite, and then later on he figured it out. He got the other people with kryptonite on the outside and he was protected in a box or whatever. If you guys saw the original Superman, you wait patiently. You don't do this kind of stuff. Now, this is the worst tragic situation that can happen out of this. But let's say he got all the way up to the point where he's talking smack and arguing with him. The guy comes out with a gun. He should say, hey, let me just back off. Now, this guy might be an egomaniac, and maybe he was abusive too. That's possible. I don't automatically always presume a guy's right 100% of the time. This is a great example of just learning how to have a warrior's mentality in the art of war and waiting patiently and thinking for the long term. I know it hurts. And the reason why I could talk like this is because I've been there. My daughter was withheld from me for 40 days and she's 3 blocks away right after I was at the hospital staying the night, 6 nights in a row because the mother had a C-section. I stayed in her hospital room with her, and we weren't even together. And then when people came and visited and people I didn't like, I backed off. I kept the peace, even though I could have stayed in there and caused a confrontation. I just sacrificed and kept the peace. And guess what? I got full custody of my daughter 7 months later because I waited it out. I fought the long game. If you don't want to fight the long game and you don't want to take advantage of battles in court right now and set stuff up. Maybe you lose contempt. Then you do another contempt. Then it's like, this is ridiculous. Now I need custody because she just won't stop. You gotta take all the steps you gotta take, and you gotta do it in the long term. And if you don't take the steps right now and you're waiting until a trial, like, oh, at trial I'll really get her. Now you screwed up because you didn't win any battles in court along the way. You have to engage in the war of attrition. You have to get on the offensive. You have to do everything, and you have to think long term. And it's not a short sprint; it's a marathon. And you can't do stuff like this at visitation exchanges. That's dumb as F to actually do a confrontation in a hostile situation like that.